All right. Well, this is the. I can't even begin to speak. I am legitimately speechless. I'm doing this live stream. It's our first impromptu stream ever, and I have no words. I have no words for what we have just witnessed. Now, to put it into context, I am incredibly hungover, so I apologize in advance. But I literally was just sitting on my couch recovering. It's a nice Sunday afternoon, nice weather, but that doesn't really help when you're hungover. And Brody says Giannis just got traded to the Warriors. I wouldn't be surprised about anything now, ever again. I would literally not be surprised. I was just trying to get over my hangover, laying on the couch, watching some basketball. I see this tweet from Shams, and I'm like, what? Hang on a second. Hang on. That's actually the real Shams. Like, I've got him on tweet notifications. That's real. And then it quickly turned into, okay, he's been hacked. Like, there's no way that's true. Like, he's been hacked. And I think everyone else was like that. And then over the last 20 minutes, half an hour here, we have literally it's been finalized. Like, it's actually happening. There's multiple reports about it now. Everyone's talking about it. This is Brody, like you just sent Giannis to the Warriors. Like, anything can happen now. Damn near anything can happen. I cannot believe for the life of me that the Dallas Mavericks just traded Luka Doncic. That is the most shocking part to me. 25-year-old, already been an MVP candidate over the last few years, and they just traded their franchise star for Anthony Davis. JSW says the most random trade in NBA history. It has to be, like, I've never been this shocked in my life, I don't think, about anything. Literally anything. Like, you couldn't dream this. Like, you couldn't literally make this up in your dreams. Brody says they got absolutely nothing for him too. Yeah, like, so let me just, here's the trade again. I am, oh my goodness, it is so wild. The Dallas Mavericks are trading, so they've traded Luka Doncic, Maxi Kleber, and Markieff Morris to Los Angeles Lakers. The Mavericks get Anthony Davis, Max Christian, the 2029 first-round pick. Utah gets Jalen Hood-Schifino in a couple of seconds. Why are Dallas doing this? So the other thing is the Mavericks approached the Lakers about this. Shams, 27 minutes ago, the Mavericks approached the Lakers recently and offered Luka Doncic. Sources tell ESPN. Lakers brass met and believe the 25-year-old Doncic has the ability to be the face of their franchise for the next decade while giving Anthony Davis a win-now move in Dallas. I mean, what do you mean giving Anthony Davis a win-now move in Dallas when, like, he's in I think right now the Lakers are probably in a better situation than the Mavericks. So that doesn't really make sense. But I cannot believe, like, if the only way I would have thought, this has gone down, and I could never believe this has gone down, but the only way I could have thought is, like, the Lakers almost, Rob Pelinka jokingly went to the Mavericks and was like, what's going on with Luka at the moment? How's his injury going? What do you want to do with him? And then you would have thought that would have been shut down. And instead, it's actually the Mavericks reaching out to the Lakers and offering Luka Doncic. I don't even know where to begin with this. But all I can see here, my first initial thoughts are that you've got a 25-year-old in not even the middle of his prime yet. Like, you'd imagine still coming in, like, should actually theoretically get better based on age. He's already been an MVP candidate over the last few years. He could well be the best player in the NBA in the next 5 years. I don't know. There's Shea. Jokic is obviously still going to be around for a while. Giannis is still going to be around for a while. And you've traded him for a guy in his 30s who's injury prone. And I love Anthony Davis. I'd love Anthony Davis on the Warriors for sure. But you really trade him you really traded Luka for him. You traded Luka for him, and you only got a first-round pick as well. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. The whole thing doesn't make any sense, mind you. The whole thing does not make any sense. GSO says, saw it on a TikTok live, laughed at it, and commented saying, no one's falling for this. Open Twitter and saw it was true. Could open up LeBron to GSW. No, it's not. I don't think LeBron's getting traded. It does make, like, if you're trying to look at it from a pessimistic standpoint for the Lakers, or if you're hoping from a Warriors standpoint that this somehow makes both teams worse, which who knows what it's going to do, really. But I don't think LeBron is going to get traded here. And it does, I suppose, put into question, how does he and Luka fit on the floor together as both primary ball handlers? Like, they're not really guys who play off the ball. They're not really like catch and shoot guys necessarily, although LeBron's probably improved that part of his game. I mean, the talent is undeniable. You've got two of the best players in the world now. I mean, you had two of the best players in the world with AD anyway. Like, I don't know. Brody says Lakers fans finally got one of their delusional trades. If that trade is setting the market for the deadline this year, then we might be able to get people on the low. I'm convinced the Mavs GM was on the piss with his boys and lost a bet. Possibly. It's Saturday night. Maybe he's just like, yeah, just he's drunk. I was drunk last night, and I don't think I would have done anything that, not stupid, but I don't even know. Too funny, major alert. Connell says, LeBron to the Warriors, win now, trade 5 players for him. No, this is not the Lakers rebuilding. This is like extending their prime. Because you could argue that you prefer to have Luka over AD at like right now anyway, and he's like 6-7 years younger. So I think this is an extraordinary trade for the Lakers. Extraordinary. So long as like Luka's body holds up. He's 25. He's obviously got this calf issue that he did on Christmas against the Timberwolves. But I don't. It's just. Like there's so many different things that I don't even know where to start. Like, what do you reckon Klay Thompson, our man Klay's thinking right now? What's Klay thinking? Because part of the biggest reason part of the reason he would have gone to Dallas is because of Luka's facilitating and playmaking. So what's he thinking now that I'm going to play next to Kyrie, I'm going to play next to AD. What does that mean for his role? I suppose it's still going to be the same as spot up, catch and shoot guy. But now he doesn't have one of the best passers and playmakers in the world. And they've replaced him, as in Luka, with a score first guy. AD can pass, but like he's a scorer. What does it mean for Klay? Do the Lakers, we're talking about, LeBron to the Warriors, but like legitimately, like this trade has happened, 5 days out from the deadline. Is there a legitimate chance now that... Sorry, I just jumped out and reconnected, so hopefully we don't have any issues. Yeah, well, where were we at? Mavericks. I just want to see what Mavs fans have got to say. I'm just going to go on their last post on X. Just a few of the top things. Brett Siegel says, I want to make it very clear that this is not coming from the Lakers or anyone involved with this blockbuster AD Luka trade, but there is a lot of people around the league wondering what this means for LeBron James' immediate future. Could the Lakers look to trade LeBron too? Well, okay, so maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the LeBron stuff is actually legit. What's Legion Hoops have to say here? Legion Hoops, who have, they're not reporters, but they've got 835,000 followers on X, tweeted out 28 minutes ago, I'm hearing LeBron James to Warriors has major legs now. Oh my goodness. Marcus Thompson says the Warriors poker tournament is going on tonight. Several players are there. They all found out about it as the news swept through the event. Stunner. Tim McMahon says the Mavs had major concerns about moving forward with Luka Doncic due to his constant conditioning issues and the looming commitment of another Supermax contract extension this summer. Bonte Hill thinks that this is a bad trade for the Lakers. Interesting. Like, this is just genuinely shocking. I'm scrolling through the feed and I'm seeing Nikola Jokic in a Warriors jersey and saying anything is possible now, make it happen. I mean, it's true though. Anything is legit possible. I don't see the Lakers moving LeBron. I think they've just decided, hey, we can make this trade, which is a great trade for us for a guy who's arguably better than the guy we're giving up, and he's 7 years younger. I believe that defense wins championships, Mavs GM Nico Harrison told ESPN regarding his motivation to trade Luka Doncic for Anthony Davis. AD will be happy because now we have like bigs to play with because they've got Daniel Gafford, they've got Derek Lively, who's out injured at the moment. This is Mark Stein says Luka Doncic was targeting a fair bait return from his calf strain, but long-term concerns about conditioning are said to have factored into Dallas' shocking change of course. This is truly wild. Who knows what can happen? Like, we're talking about Jimmy Butler, Zach LaVine, these guys who could be available. And and now we've just seen Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis traded for one another. Raymond says something doesn't smell right. Somebody wake up Joe Lacob. Sneaker Dad says whoever is in the front office of Mavs needs to be drug tested. GG said, is this real? Brody says, am I drunk right now? Is this the afterlife? Raymond says, unless LeBron has been asking out. I mean, if LeBron's asking out, he didn't look like a player in this game today against the Knicks that wanted to ask out. He had a 33-point triple-double. He was huge. But, like, we don't know. I'm almost going to have to, it's currently 5 p.m. here. I'm almost going to have to pull an all-nighter because I just don't want to miss anything that happens while I'm asleep. Because there could be some ramifications to this. Who knows? It could be like, yeah, like they're trading LeBron as well. And if they're trading LeBron, again, I don't think they are, but if they do, then I think Golden State are a legit, they're probably the team. They're probably the team. And it would be Wiggins and I don't even know. Like, because they've got Luka now. I'm just Wiggins in the expirings and a couple of firsts, whatever the usual deal that we come up with, the usual hypothetical that leaves you with like Steph, LeBron, Draymond. Don't know if you'd have to give up Kuminga. Okay, so Shams just tweeted, this deal materialized in the shadows. LeBron James had no idea this was coming. Anthony Davis had no idea this was coming. I'm told Luka Doncic is still stunned about this trade. How did the Lakers, I'm sorry, how did the Lakers literally just trade Anthony Davis without telling LeBron? How does LeBron not know? I applaud Rob Pelinka and the Lakers for actually not going to LeBron about this, just being like, stuff it, we're doing it. And I think it's a good move because, again, like it opens up their future and now they're no longer kind of at LeBron's peril where like he can pull the strings. Now it's like, well, hang on. We've already got this 25-year-old future face of the franchise. We'll be fine after you leave now. Like, we'll be fine. We'll be relevant. Bound to be relevant. You've got Luka Doncic. You're going to have a relevant basketball team. That's how good he is. Right? And so now they're not at his mercy anymore. So I actually give them credit for doing this trade without actually consulting him by the sounds of it. Brody says, to be fair, though, I think the Mavs will look nice. Just need a shrewder type PG distributor. Yeah, like, I think they'll be good. I'm not saying, like, they've taken a big step backwards necessarily. I think long-term they probably have. Short-term, they should still be a very good team. Maybe they've got ideas of even being a better team with the upgrade they'll get defensively. But I still can't believe they only got a first-round pick and AD for Luka. Brody says, if they can get Luka for that, we can get Fox for Pat Spencer. Nado says, why the Warriors never get a deal like this for Luka? Our front office is shitty. Well, we don't have Anthony Davis. We don't have a player of his caliber. We've got Steph Curry, and obviously you're not trading him, although who knows? Who knows if top three. He'd be like him, Steph, Jokic, Giannis. Right? Why? I'm going unstable again. No, okay, I'm back. Yeah, like he would be on that list, and now he's just been traded. So if I wake up in the next few days and the Warriors have, they can't trade Steph Curry now, so it's actually illegal. So I won't wake up to that. But I tell you what, if we get a Steph Curry trade notification at some point, now moving forward at any point before his career ends, I'm not going to be shocked. I can't be shocked by anything else that happens now because this has just happened. Brody says, hopefully Giannis wants out of the Bucks. Don't think that's going to happen, but who knows? Raymond says, it's 10 p.m. in the Bay. I'm pulling an all-nighter too. Brody says, LeCap is back at it again. He's asking you. Apparently not. Nato says, why is Dunleavy not calling the Lakers in Dallas? Lakers front office is just much better than ours. Valet says, Dallas has balls. I love it. I mean, both teams have balls. Like, the fact that the Mavericks traded Luka and the Lakers traded AD, man, credit to both teams. Credit to both teams for this, because this is unbelievable for the league in terms of engagement. Like, the content that we get out of this, the discussion now, it's crazy. Brody says, imagine what happens if the Mavs win it all, though. That would be insane. It's going to be so much coming from this. Not just for the rest of this season, but for years and years. And this is one of those trades that, like, it's a 10, 12 year kind of, like, you might not know the answer on who won this trade for another 10 years. Dead set. Because you know what? Who knows? You know, the Mavs come out, win the championship, and you say, oh, they've won the trade. But then in 6 years' time, Luka leads Lakers to a championship, and you say, oh, they won the trade. Who knows? My goodness. Douglas says, Mavs want all that smoke from their fans. Nato says, trade Chef for Ant. It's tempting. I love Steph. No, I'm not trading Steph. Valet says, Lakers ship their defense out. Mitchell Bro says, Zach LaVine for GP2 now based on what they gave up. Yeah, if only the salaries worked. B-Met says, the worth of stars has just gone 180. Rudy worth 5 first-round picks. Brody says, I really hope that this trade sets the market. Douglas asks, how did the Lakers have balls? AD isn't worth a superstar. Yeah, okay. So you could point and say, well, this is actually an easy trade for the Lakers to make, and I can understand that because I think it really is a great trade for them. But still, like, you're still trading Anthony Davis, and more so, the balls come from if you didn't tell LeBron about it. If you just did this behind his back and trade Anthony Davis without his knowledge, that's where the balls come from. Not the trade itself, but that. Not telling LeBron. Brody says, I really hope that this trade sets the market. I don't think you can possibly, like, this trade is that gigantic and mammoth that I'm not sure it sets the market for anything else because nothing can compare. Nothing can literally compare. And I also like, there's probably going to be a lot of people around the league who just say, like, what are the Mavs doing, right? What are the Mavs possibly doing here? And I think if let's say you're the Warriors and you're wanting to trade for Zach LaVine and you're like, well, look what the Mavericks just got for Luka Doncic. Wasn't much. Well, Chicago's GM or whoever you're discussing trades with might just say, well, hang on, we're not going to compare ourselves
and compared this situation to that one where the Dallas front office were clearly drunk when they decided to make that decision. So, I don't know. Brody says, you remember where you were when this trade happens. Yeah, it's a good point. It's one of those things, like one of those shock things in your life that you'll probably vividly remember. I will vividly remember like laying on my couch, getting that first tweet from Shams being like, this cannot possibly be real. Like, he has been hacked. Am I hallucinating? What is going on? There's very few times like I look back and vividly remember like shocking things that, you know, have happened where I like will vividly remember where I was and what my reaction was. One of them was probably waking up and seeing the notification about Kobe's death. That's one of them. It normally happens around death. I'll be serious, like when there's an unexpected shock death of a big name. Like, you guys, obviously NBA fans and Americans probably don't know about this, but when Philip Hughes, who was a former Australian cricketer, when he got hit in the head playing cricket and then died a few days later, like that was one for me where I was like, whoa, because I was a young guy playing cricket at the time, and that just completely changed your view of the whole sport, where you're like, hang on, I could actually go out in the ground and die. Like, legit go out in the ground and die and get hit in the head. So, yeah, like this is up there, though. This is up there in terms of shock things that you'll just remember vividly, like where you were, what you were doing, what your reaction was. Vale says, Luka isn't interested in defense or looking after his body. Great deal. Well, guess what? He's an MVP candidate already. Imagine if he matures a little bit and actually does start caring a little bit about defense and you know, a little bit about his body. Then what have you got? You got the best player in the world, probably. Chris Haynes on Mavericks initiating talks with Lakers and why a Luka Doncic-Anthony Davis trade was pulled off. That's a link to his article or video, I think. B-Man says, Luka Worth an injury-prone 32-year-old AD, 3 depth players and 1 first-round pick. GM's about to start throwing around some heinous trade offers. Yeah, like this has surely got to motivate. Like, can Mike Dunleavy Jr. just go to the Nuggets and just be like, hey, Nikola Jokic, like, what's your plan with him? What are you doing? Or like, maybe not Jokic, because that is completely unrealistic, but like, you just be constantly, you know, calling in on Milwaukee and saying, Giannis, how's he going? Because like anything can happen now. A couple of you guys still saying Bron to the Warriors and Bron coming to the Bay. Douglas says Mavs using ChatGPT for their trades. Raymond asks, is this good for the Lakers or worse? I think it's good. I think it's good because I think you could argue they've got the better player. Now, you could argue they might be worse because their defense will take a hit. Absolutely. But I just think because you're trading a 32-year-old who is injury prone for a 25-year-old who is also a little bit injury prone, but still is 7 years younger, like the Lakers will be relevant. And I think it's almost a classic Lakers move where like they just want to be, and I suppose they, being the Lakers, they just are relevant all the time, but they always want to have a top 10 player in the league. They always want someone who is going to be worth the price of admission just by himself. And that's what they're going to have now with Luka. They're going to have a guy that will make them a relevant basketball team for the next 10, 12 years. And they don't have to worry about life after LeBron now. And I think that's what they made this trade for. I think part of it was, yep, we're getting a good player. Like, he'll help us out. We could be better in the short term, but long term, we're going to be better off. Fellow says Dallas got better and the Lakers got worse, 100%. I love this. I love this because this is such a blockbuster trade and we just don't know. We really don't know how it's going to play out. That you can argue completely opposite to me and I don't care. I love it. Because I'm not going to tell you you're wrong because we don't know. Like, this is the beautiful thing about like trades, and particularly something of this extraordinary magnitude, is that you can have your opinion and I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong because we just don't know yet. But for me, I disagree with you. I disagree. I'm not saying you're wrong, but I disagree. if there's a difference. I think long term, this is a major win for the Lakers. Douglas says, this doesn't make the Lakers legit contenders because their defensive ceiling just collapsed, but they did set up the franchise for the next several years. Brody says, we'll be good for when we play them this week. Beautiful. Luka is on the injury report. Yeah. Ram says, okay, yep, that makes sense. Renaz, LeBron Milton just got sent to GSW for Wig, Schroeder, Pods, and Peyton and won first. Douglas says, the thing that pisses me off is that it only cost the Lakers 1 first-round pick. How many more firsts do they have for other trades? I don't think have they got 3 available now, maybe? Like, as in, they had 3, they've just spent this one. Have they got 2 more they can use, I think? Maybe? Or is it just 1? Did they have 2 or 3 before this trade? Not actually sure. Valet said, we all just watched Luka in the finals play the most disgusting defense we've ever seen. Luka is in the Lakers to put seats on bums. LeBron knows that trade hurts them. Again, that's a fair argument. It's a fair argument. Douglas says, Luka needs the ball in his hands. The fit is suspect, but like others have said, from a financial standpoint, it's a blockbuster. Valet said, yeah, obviously a long-term move to help them sell tickets down the line, but they ain't winning crap this year. A few more notifications here from Orav. If you've got any Australian cricket fans in the chat here, I'm sure he won't mind me sharing this, but a good mate of mine, Caleb Jewell, who just won the BBL title with the Hobart Hurricanes earlier this week, just messaged me. He said, what WTF am I reading? So he's a bit of an NBA fan, and he's a professional athlete, and so maybe he would have some kind of idea of, obviously on a much smaller scale, but he might have some idea of, what Luka and AD and the rest of the players involved in this trade are going through. Mike says, we'll just kick rocks again this year. Golden State always stands pat. Curry's hurt and he's getting swarmed every game. We need another playmaker to even get to playing. Brody says, up the Scorchers. You've had your winning history, Brody. It's the Hurricanes time now. B-Man says, Lakers playing easy mode on 2K, GM mode. Back to Mike's comment, though. I think you are going, as Valet says, trades are hard to make. If there's one thing I can guarantee you about the Warriors before the trade deadline, is that they will make a trade. They will absolutely make a trade. And there's been recent years where we weren't sure that was going to be the case or not, right? Where we thought, the speculation wasn't this much, or the team was better, so there was no need to necessarily, change things up too much, whatever. The Warriors don't usually make in-season trades. Now, they've already made one with the Milton Schroeder one, but that's just, Milton was out for the year. That was just not even a risky trade. It hasn't worked, but they didn't really lose anything out of it either. So if there's one thing I can guarantee, it's that the Warriors will make a trade the next 5 days. They will. I think I'm fairly confident it will be for an all-star. Now, that all-star could be Jimmy Butler, Zach LaVine, or Nikola Vucevic, because those guys have all been all-stars in the past. Now, Vucevic is definitely not an all-star these days. Butler, you could argue, LaVine, obviously none of them made the all-star team this year. But I think one of the Warriors will get one of these 3 guys. But if anything, this humongous Luka Davis trade actually makes me feel better about the Warriors, because now I think anything can happen. Before this trade, I was like, okay, the Warriors will probably get one of LaVine, Vucevic, or Butler. Like one of those 3 guys. Maybe LaVine and Vucevic. Who knows? Like they'll get at least one of those 3 guys in the next 5 days. I was pretty confident of that. Now, they could get anyone. They said could get anyone. Who knows? Like, my goodness. Sneaker Dad says, I can see at least 20 teams can offer better than what the Lakers just offered. Well, I'm just like, do you reckon the Mavericks pinpointed AD and was like, yeah, that's the guy we want? Because they went to the Lakers offering Luka. So you would have thought they would have went around the league and just looked at different teams' rosters and said, okay, what can we actually get for for Luka here and what makes the most sense for us. And they probably would have pinpointed Anthony Davis and said, yeah, that's the guy we want. Because they if you're of the mindset that you're wanting to or interested in trading Luka Doncic, you could just about get everyone but maybe 5 players in the league. Dead set. Now, Wemby you're not getting, Jokic you're not getting. I don't think Milwaukee wouldn't do Giannis. The Warriors would probably do Steph if it was legal. I don't know. Do you reckon the Warriors would trade Steph for Luka? Mate, Ant, you probably wouldn't trade Ant. But there's a handful of guys that you wouldn't trade for Luka Doncic. So when the Mavericks get into this idea of, okay, we're interested in trading Luka Doncic, they could literally look at everything. And so I'm a little bit surprised again that they've got this much in terms of not enough. They've got Davis and 1 first-round pick when you could have got a player of similar caliber of AD probably and multiple first-round picks. I don't know. Valet says, yeah, they obviously wanted AD. That's obvious. B-Man says, Gross gearing up to trade Darcy Fogarty for Nick Dacos next season. I think that's my good mate, Callum Berman, I believe. Berman, I was in a group chat and one of the boys knows nothing about the NBA and I compared this trade and I said to him, Rilla, this trade is the equivalent of if Collingwood traded Nick Dacos to Melbourne for Christian Petrarca. That's the equivalent. You've got this guy, Nick Dacos is a Brownlow medal candidate who is early in his career. Christian Petrarca is a little bit older, now maybe slightly injury prone. That's the equivalent. And he was just well, that would just never happen. And I was like, exactly. This is how wild it is. It's so cooked. I just love your guys' opinions, and we all have differing opinions on this, and that's what's fantastic. It just creates so much different discussion and has so many different impacts. Again, we're talking about what happens for Klay. Can the Lakers and the Mavericks make another move here? Can the Warriors get LeBron now before the deadline? I thought that ship had gone and sailed, but now all of a sudden, it's simply wild. Before I finish up, I was just gonna go on to the what I was going to do before is go on to the Mavericks Twitter and just see that their comments from fans. January by the numbers. No one cares. Here we go. Traded Prime Luka for an 8-foot tall set of eyebrows. That seals the deal. I'm no longer a Mavs fan. I've been a fan since 1982 and a season ticket holder since 1996. I will not be renewing my plan next season, nor will I watch on TV ever again. I'm taking my fanhood to the Grizzlies when they know how to win a championship. This is the worst trade in the history of the NBA. I've been a lifelong fan of the Mavs. Today I will hang it up. How could you trade Luka? Blows my mind. I will not root for Dallas, and I hope Kyrie Irving demands a trade and sits out until it happens. Why'd you trade Luka? LMAO. If you traded Luka to the Lakers, you might as well blow up the next 10 years. Welcome to lottery drafts. Traded Luka for Glass and a few picks. Insane. Luka gone. Are you guys for real right now? Ownership better step in on this Luka trade. Better not happen. Fire Nico Harrison now. Everyone should boycott the next home game. You all suck. Why'd you all trade Luka? Nico needs to resign. Thank God I'm not a fan of your team. There's no way you thought this was a good trade. Announce the Luka trade. Yeah, I'm a Lakers fan now. Congrats, guys. What are you all doing? What are we doing? You're lame. Unfollow. Did you just trade Luka to LA? If you did, why didn't you include Powell? Hey, did you really trade Doncic for AD and who else? Worst run organization in sports. Why would you trade Luka? So the point is here, Dallas fans not happy at all. Not happy at all about this right now. Sneaker Dad says, I love Steph, but I'll trade him for Luka without blinking. Mike says, what's your thought about us trading for KD? Are we better if we keep Kuminga? No, we're not better. Like, of course you'd give up Kuminga for KD. Yeah, well, I don't think we'll be getting KD, but again, this kind of opens up things. This kind of opens up things where I'm just like, okay, maybe it's possible. Who knows? Raymond says Mark Cuban does know when to sell at the top. It's truly, truly shocking. Jake Fisher says Dallas had contacted several teams this week looking to reroute additional salary for a potential 3-team deal. So said a bunch of teams knew inklings about the Mavericks being close on a trade. Nobody knew it was trading Luka Doncic. Just going to play Shams' video here. What is going on? I'm just going to fit like that's. I cannot believe this happened. Quiet Nerd says anything can happen except the Warriors making a move at all. The Warriors will make a move. They will make a move, even if, and they could make a move that's actually worse than not making a move at all, and that is ducking the luxury tax and like trading GP2 for a minimum contract or something and getting under the luxury tax. Now, fans would, and I would completely lose my mind if that's the case, but that's a possibility. And again, I think they will make a move. The Golden State Warriors book market will make a trade in the next 5 days. They will. Bree says NBA with a face palm. Anything for LeBron. Doggy says the Warriors are done and the Lakers are getting another center. Douglas Mikes says LeBron's co-stars during his career have been crazy. Wade, Bosch, Irving, Love, Davis, and now Luka. Bree says Lakers didn't even have to give up much to get Luka. Yeah, that's what we've been saying in the chat. Bree, I cannot believe they only got AD, I suppose, and a first-round pick. Like, you would have thought they would have had to get multiple firsts, but that's not the case. I think there's a few people, including Valet, has been the biggest one, saying this is a good trade for the Mavericks and this is a bad trade for the Lakers. So, again, as I've said to you guys before, the differing opinions on this are huge and fantastic, and I love it. And it brings so much interest to the NBA. And I know from my content creation on here or with my writing, like trade stuff, free agency stuff, that's what people talk about. It's not about, it's not about LeBron going for 33-point triple-double today. It's no one cares about that now. That's yesterday's news almost. Okay, it's now, whoa, the Lakers just traded for Luka Doncic. Douglas says, even if the Mavs got AD 3 first and Reeves, I'd still be shocked. Doggy says AD was being a problem. Mr. Level says Warriors can't even do anything. Yeah, there's a lot of frustration among fans about the Warriors not doing anything at all. Particularly when a trade like this goes down. All right, I think I'm going to finish it up there because, yeah, I've just thought I'd jump on and share some immediate thoughts. I still cannot get my head around this actually happening. Shams just tweeted out again. It's 1,000% real with a picture of AD in a Mavs jersey and Luka in a Lakers jersey. It's in shock processing, says Cyrus. Brett Siegel says apparently a rift had been forming between AD and Lakers management, especially after his sit-down interview with ESPN. Yeah, it was interesting that he said, "Oh, we need to make a move. I don't want to keep playing center." Dave McMenamin, LeBron James learned of the Davis Doncic trade after the Knicks game when it broke while he was out to dinner with his family. Sources close to James told ESPN. James was surprised by the news, is processing it, and had no idea it was in the works. I love that the Lakers literally did this without LeBron's knowledge. I think that's great on their behalf. Good on them. Good on them for worrying. I obviously don't like the Lakers. I want them to fall to pieces, really, because it's better for the Warriors. But I love that they had the guts to say, hang on, you know what? We're not going to be at the mercy of LeBron James and what he wants to do. We're going to go out and we are going to get the next guy so we don't have to worry about what LeBron's doing or when he's going to retire or anything like that. I love it. Anyway, I'm going to finish it up there, guys. I might come back and do another podcast maybe tomorrow based on all of this. And who knows, what other news we're going to get over the next 12, 24 hours. I'll get through a few more comments here first and then I'll finish up. Vale says, man, these guys are all sleeping on AD. Unlike Luka, he's a proven champion. You want to win or you want to be entertaining and have high-scoring games. I mean, yeah, but he's a champion, okay? He was the second best player on a championship team. So was Andrew Wiggins, okay? Anthony Davis clearly a better player than Andrew Wiggins, but AD's never been the guy on a championship team. Luka has been the guy on a finals team at least. I just think I'd rather Luka Doncic than over Anthony Davis. Now, again, depending on what your team looks like, I get it, but I'd just pound for pound, I'd rather Luka, and he's also 7 years younger. Miss Level says, even getting Butler doesn't come close. Doggy says AD is not a leader. Sneaker Dad says this trade pretty much means no players in the NBA is off limits. Yeah, that's probably the biggest takeaway for me, is that, as I've said 20 times now, anything can happen now. Anything, and I won't be shocked. Mike says, thanks for doing a live news. Subscribe and enjoy your stuff. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming on, Mike. Henry says, WTF is reality. Are we living in a simulation? Doggy says, Warriors are done. Henry says, LeBron to the Warriors or nah? What? Well, there's speculation growing about that now, but I don't think it will happen. I don't think it will happen unless LeBron... The one way I could see it happening is that LeBron gets mad about this and LeBron gets frustrated that he wasn't involved in the discussions. Okay, which is a possibility because we know he's wanted to often be hands-on when it comes to roster moves, and it sounds like this one, he had no idea. The Lakers did not consult him whatsoever, which again, I give them plaudits for, but maybe in the next 24, 48 hours here, LeBron's like, what did you just do without me? What is this decision, this franchise-altering, perhaps biggest trade in NBA history you just made and did not consult me? And maybe he gets frustrated. Maybe he gets angry. And maybe that's the path to him requesting a trade. And perhaps then the Warriors could get in the mix. But I don't think the Lakers will go out and actively look to shop LeBron. I think they'll still want him around. It's just whether he's so put off by this trade that maybe it leads to a request from him or something. Siobhan says, the narrative already knew nothing happens without the GM's knowledge. Well, it's been reported. It's just been reported. Again, to go back to Jake Fisher of, he's now writes for Mark Stein on the Stein line. And he said that was not to do with... No, this is Shams, Shams. This deal materialized in the shadows. LeBron James had no idea this was coming. Anthony Davis had no idea this was coming. And what did I just read out? Oh, it was Dave McMenamin. That I just read out before, who said that LeBron just found out while he was out for dinner with his family. LeBron James learned of the Davis-Doncic trade after the Knicks game when it broke while he was out for dinner with his family. James was surprised by the news, is processing it, and had no idea it was in the works. That's what's been reported. So you've got to take that on face value. Douglas says, Luka is a superstar at minimum. Multiple first and other assets should have been sent out. Doggy says, we know LeBron did this trade. Apparently not. Mr. Level says, this shit is crazier than Gasol to the Lakers 17 years ago on the same date. Yeah, I did see that come across Twitter. Led to one of the great segments from Stephen A. Smith. Doggy said LeBron can't get traded. We can. He's got a no trade clause, but he can obviously override that to get where he wants to go, basically. In fact, if LeBron wants out, it's actually probably fairly easy for him to get out because he's got a player option next season. He could just be like, well, I'm just going to leave in the offseason if you don't trade me now. And therefore, the Lakers would probably want to get some kind of value back. And he also, he's got that no trade clause. So if they try and send him to Toronto, they try and send him out of the country or anywhere that he doesn't want to go, he can just reject it and be like, I'm not doing that. Yeah, Mr. Level says he can. He just needs to rescind his no trade clause. Yeah. So LeBron can be traded. He's just got a no trade clause, which I think helps any team like the Warriors, maybe, if he was to ask out and want to go to a specific destination, then he has a lot of leverage in that scenario. Anyway, we'll finish up there because I've been going for 50 minutes. Thank you to everyone who jumped in and had their say. It was absolutely fantastic. It's going to be days before I process this. It's just wild. So I appreciate all you guys. I might come back for another podcast episode tomorrow, as I said before, because who knows what news, if there's going to be other stuff that we hear about this that will leak out over the next 12 to 24 hours. I actually, I feel like this live stream, I've just blurted out words, basically. My mind can't actually process what's happened and what this means. So I feel like I'm just blurting out stuff that's just randomly in my head. So maybe in the next 24 hours, myself and I'm sure plenty of people will have a better idea of what in the hell has just happened. Because right now I'm so confused. I'm shocked. So, all right. Thanks again, guys. Much appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel already, that would be greatly appreciated. I'll also put this up on the podcast feed as well if anyone wants to tune back into it, or if or for those of you that have listened via the podcast feed, if you're listening to this back, thank you for tuning in as well. Warriors play the Jazz on Monday, but who knows what could happen between now and then. Absolutely. To finish it off again, anything can happen now that Luka Doncic has just been traded for Anthony Davis.